leaving the church, the law of attraction, and your 2024 calendar. What do all these things have in common? Hi, I'm the birthday coach saying you were born for more. If you're new to my channel, you'll probably, after a while, think, man, that guy sounds like a preacher. Because I am. For many, many years, I was an ordained preacher. Went to seminary, graduated from seminary, traveled the world as an evangelist and missionary. But I've been out of orthodox or conservative religion for quite some time. But what propelled my journey outside of institutional religion? Well, the hypocrisy, for one. No, for all those that are watching, I'm not hurt and suffering by what somebody in the church did to me. But I have worked behind the scenes, been with some of these large organizations where, yes, you see the infidelity, you see the affairs, preachers not really caring about people, they just want the money. Is that all preachers? No. Many preachers that get into religion have a desire to help people. But besides light, there's always darkness. And there's a lot of ministers out there, they're in the ministry because it's an ego, especially in charismatic, Pentecostal circles. They look to the pastor like a mini God. And that feeds a lot of ego. And when ego gets unchecked, power absolutely corrupts. And so you see a lot of scandals. Always has been and always will be. You know, for those that do know my channel, you know, my preference is, and so being in the church, people thought, well, maybe you left because of a scandal, this or that. No, I was very true to my vows, very true. Wasn't out there fornicating or adultery or any of that, even though most of the straight counterparts that I knew had plenty of that going on. But what led me away from it was constantly going to these rallies and having preachers say, how can you like a guy? If you're a guy, if you're a teenager and you like a guy, you should kill yourself. You're a faggot. Who wants to be a faggot? And just really preaching hate. And it's not just my religion. You see it in all religions in the world, especially when you get into that our way or the highway, or we follow the word literally. And so I, after a while, began to actually see teenagers commit suicide that were gay or LGBTQI and see them suffer. And, you know, I got to the point where I'm seeing all these straight pastors out there fornicating, cheating, lying. And I see teenagers and even people that are in the church that are struggling with their orientation, living a good life, but constantly be under attack. And so that started my journey of leaving, you know, the hypocrisy behind, to know that God is love and he wants to support everybody. But what does that have to do with the law of attraction? Well, because I was a minister, I lived in a parsonage, made my money, my livelihood from the ministry. When I decided to walk away from the church, I lost all my resources. I lost all my money. You see, I didn't have an education like a plumber or electrician or went to school for something else. I spent the majority of all my education in counseling, Christian counseling. But then again, it wasn't a certified Christian counselor. So even then, you're not going to be able to have work right off the bat. So I was doing these little odd end jobs while I was trying to find my place in the world at this new juncture, at this new time in my life. And I began to learn about the law of attraction. Now, some of you think that I'm anti-law of attraction because a lot of times you're going to hear me say, you know, law of attraction doesn't always work. And I that's because I believe there's an extremeness on both sides. You know, sometimes you get so extreme on one where there's some of these people who tell you don't help the poor because you're helping them stay poor, or don't help the hurting because you're buying in to them seeing themselves as a victim. And I think that's just a cop-out for greed. And I'll leave it there. So there's just as much as there's greed in the church, there's greed in the New Age teachings. But there is truth. Just as there's truth in the church, there's truth in the old ancient teaching of the law of attraction. And so because I was looking for new work, and I was doing these in and odd jobs, I thought, what would I like? I liked traveling when I was a minister. I still wanted to travel, but I no longer had organizations supporting me to do that. What could I do to travel, make money, and see the world? Aha, work on a cruise ship, But I had no idea about how working on a cruise ship. Didn't know how to go about it, any of that. I wasn't computer savvy. So what I did is I bought a calendar, a cruise ship calendar. And so I was working this minimum wage sales job. I had my own little office. I put the calendar up on the wall. And every day I would look at that calendar, and anytime I see it, I would just say, oh man, I love working on the cruise ship. Man, I love going to this port. I love doing that. And I would just, see that calendar because it was on the wall. I glanced at it 30, 50, 60 times a day. And whenever I glanced at it, I would just daydream for a second about how nice it would be to be on a cruise ship. And so the secret with law of attraction, if you focus on something, don't focus, you'll get it. No, if you focus on something, you're going to repel it away. You don't want to meditate or focus on what you want. You want to suggest. Suggestion is different than focusing. Suggestion is just a light suggestion. And so I would lightly suggest in my subconscious mind by just glancing, oh, I would like to be on a cruise ship. Oh, that would be fun. I would look at that calendar every day, flip it through the months and just look at the cruise ship and think about that port's nice, that's fun. Oh, all the people I would meet. And I go about my day. And so I would never make it something where I was fixated on. It was just whenever I saw it, I would offer up a thanks of being on it and enjoying it. Fast forward a few months after doing that, I had to go to Arkansas to visit my grandmother in a small town, Cave City, Arkansas, maybe 500 people, small dinky town. And as I was in Cave City, Arkansas, thereabouts, I might have been on the outskirts, I went to a little coffee house, and while I was there, I saw this gentleman come in, and I could clearly see he wasn't from the area. Just, different vibe, different vibration. And someone said, go talk to that guy. So I began to just talk to the guy, like, what brings you here? I can kind of tell you're like me, you're just visiting. He says, yes, I had a funeral to go to, so, I flew here, and I'm going to fly out tomorrow, and I'm just here for a day. And so we began to talk more and more, and he looked at me, and out of the blue, he said, you know what you'd be great at? And I said, what's that? He said, you'd be a great cruise director. I looked at him, I said, oh my God, I would love to be on a cruise ship. I've always been wanting to do that for the last few months. He said, well, why aren't you? I said, I just don't know how to go about it. And he looked at me and he says, Jeremy, I am the hiring director, and he named the cruise line. And he said, when I get back home, if you email me your information, I'll get you on one of our ships. And long story short, man, within 3 weeks later, I was on a ship, cruise ship, traveling the world, seeing ports, working, making a little money. But here's the kicker. The ship that I got placed on was the exact ship that I was staring at the most in the calendar. The exact ship. There's hundreds of cruise ships, but I ended on the exact ship that I would casually glance on and say, oh, it's so fun to be there. I'm having a good time. This is what I'm trying to say. I do believe in the law of attraction. I believe you better call it the law of suggestion and not emphasize it, but relax and flow with the idea whenever it comes across your mind throughout the tongue-tied. Anyways, what's this have to do with 2024? What is it you want to manifest in 2024? Where's the place you want to go visit? What's the vacation you want to take? Do you need to make more money? You want a car, this or that? Get the calendar. Get calendar on purpose. Get a calendar on purpose that has the pictures that you want to see. We always hear about visualization. Put up pictures. I absolutely agree with that. But get the calendar. They're out there right now. Find a calendar that has the picture of what you're desiring. Put one in the house. Put one in the car. Put one in work. And when you're flipping through the pictures, just say to yourself, oh, that's going to be nice. I'm enjoying that. That's fun. I look forward to it. And just see what law of attraction can work for you. Who are you going to meet in the most unexpected places that are going to open the door for you to get exactly what's on your calendar?